Welcome to Mind Changers Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Lamar Blakney, and I got my sidekick, Mr. Shann Atkinson. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's up? What's up, man? So good to see you. So good to see you tonight, man. I
Yeah,
can't wait
here,
to
man.
talk about this topic. I can't wait to talk about this topic tonight.
Oh, listen, we got something for y'all. But y'all know, before we get into the topic, we're going to be talking about who's talking about Diddy right after this.
Mind Changers International, changing lives for the better. Our vision is to be a transformative platform that exposes lies and reveals the truth. Mind Changers International, we on a mission, masking the falsehoods with every new edition. We're here to enlighten your mind with this vibration, expose a lie, speak a truth, normal conversations. Mind Changers International, we on a mission, masking the falsehoods.
Welcome to Mind Changers International, y'all.
What's up? What's up, everybody? I'm so glad everybody tuned in tonight. So glad. So glad.
We got exciting episode. We are going to be talking about who's talking about Diddy.
Yes.
It's all across the world. It is happening on the news daily.
It is.
So tell me, brother, what have you been hearing about Mr. P. Diddy Combs?
Man, it's crazy. It's crazy just everything that's going on, all the just craziness, how they dropped it, man, right in the middle of our lap. And everybody out there tonight, this show is going to be a roller coaster, man. We're going to start with that descent as we go up, and we're going to get to the top, and then we're going to go down, and we're going to go fast, and we're going to cut left, and we're going to cut right. Man, we got a lot of stuff that we got to chew on tonight about this whole thing.
Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do. And, you know, we want y'all to know, in this show, we are just talking about what everybody else is talking about. Now,
yes,
we're going to be playing some videos. Now, I'm not saying that everything we're going to play, the visuals are real, but we're going to talk about how people are perpetuating a false narrative, and they just creating stuff about other people connected to Diddy. So listen,
Absolutely.
Shann gonna talk to y'all about like and subscribe. Hit him with it right quick, Shann.
Yeah, man, everybody out there, man, we're going to be moving over to YouTube pretty soon exclusively. And we're just going to use Facebook as a platform that you guys can click on the link and jump right on into what we're doing. We want to move to YouTube because we are trying to monetize. We're trying to monetize so that we can take this channel to the next level. And the only way we can do it is go to YouTube. So we just ask if everybody would just go to YouTube, find Mind Changers Podcast, Mind Changer Podcast, and just click subscribe. Hit that little bell up there for the notification so that when we go live, you won't miss a second of what we got to say. And I just want to thank everybody for just tuning in, coming with us, going down these crazy rabbit holes that we jump into sometimes. And just, man, thanks, man. We just, at the bottom of our heart, we just thank you for everybody who's watching.
Yeah. So today, we're going to dive into some pretty serious news regarding Sean Combs, better known as P. Diddy or Love. And I'm pretty sure he's not using that name Love where he at.
Yeah.
So Sean, we know that he's faced with some heavy allegations, and we have to use the word allegations because he has not been found guilty. And we want to break it down in a way that's so easy and understanding. So Sean got a lot of information. I got a lot of information. So Sean, the first thing that I would like to do is let's take a moment to discuss P. Diddy's legal troubles, right? The impact his children may face. Man, this is a really, really important aspect to consider, especially when you think about the personal side of this situation, right?
Yes. Right.
He has children. They are affected as well. So
that's right.
First and foremost, that legal stress. If I was a father and I was in prison, Sean, right now, and I was the sole provider of my family, right? And they won't let me out. They thought I was getting out. They don't let me out. can you imagine what this man's kids going through? And I know somebody
absolutely.
say, well, what about the victims? We're going to get to that.
Right.
But right now, his kids are victims too. Maybe some are, maybe some are not. We're going to talk about that. So, Shann, let's talk about what you got on your mind right now.
Yeah, man, with these kids, there's a legacy involved. I mean, there's an inheritance involved. If something were to happen and he is found guilty, I mean, the feds are going to lock up every bit of his finances. I mean, they're going to deem him a criminal entity, a criminal enterprise, and everything that he's ever made is just gone. And these his kids, if his kids are probably waiting on their inheritance, waiting on this, and they're not going to get a dime. And they're literally going to be out there in nowhere. They're going to be just normal, regular people. And that's kind of crazy that if he decided to do the things he did and go as far as he did, that this would affect his children the way it is, man. It's crazy. It's just terrible.
And think about this, y'all. These children never had to deal with money issues. They never had to deal with poverty. They always felt like, hey, we're going to be wealthy for the rest of our life because of our father, right? So they're not just dealing with public scrutiny that comes with their father being, in the headlines with all these serious charges. They are also likely to face these emotional fallouts of what it all means to their family, right? Okay. So it's tough enough to be a kid in the spotlight, but when you throw legal issues, that can create a whirlwind of anxiety and uncertainty for these kids. I feel for them. Yeah. So, Shann, you had some things you wanted to talk about today because we've been going back and forth, creating some content and just really, really want to dive deep into who's talking about Diddy.
Yeah, absolutely. When we start talking about this and start looking into this, the timing about this whole thing is real funny. I mean, they've had these allegations for months and months and months, and they've had them sealed up for a long time. And all of a sudden, they decided to drop this right here, just maybe 5 weeks. Well, at the time, it was 6 weeks before the election. I mean, the home stretch. 6 weeks marks that period to where it's the sprint to the finish line when you're starting to. You've already got your voters who are pro Kamala, or you have your voters who are pro Trump. But there's also right there in the middle of the undecided. You would think 6 weeks everybody would already know who they're going to vote for, but they have done studies over the years, and they have found out there's a large group of voters that don't get involved until 6 weeks before the election. That's when they start looking into things. That's when they start researching it and looking at all these different candidates and what they're opposed and what they're for. And that's why that debate was so important, because that debate was the jump-off period of those undecided voters that are trying to figure out who they want to vote for this year. So the timing of this came kind of crazy. It almost feels like it was meant for a distraction, because as you and I were talking and discussing today, as we were doing our pre-show meeting, trying to figure out what we were going to do in this show, we decided that there's a big distraction coming. This was a big distraction. This was meant to really start shaking things up so that it would really stifle the news, all the different news stories that actually affects each candidate and their pursuit to the White House. And those things we're gonna look into tonight.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about the charges. And Shann, I'm with you, because the best way to keep people off of the news that we need to pay attention to is to create a diversion.
Big diversion.
This
is a big one.
Yeah,
it's a big one.
Or Israel, but it is a diversion. Israel, they're fighting. We got the election. We have so many other issues and situations that are more important than P. Diddy.
Right.
They keep throwing it in our face. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. We will never pay attention to what we need to pay attention to. So,
exactly.
So Shann, first up, we have to talk about the racketeering conspiracy charge, right?
Okay.
This is a serious charge. This one is under the RICO Act. If y'all don't know what it means, go look it up. The RICO Act, which was designed to tackle organized crime, right?
Right.
And so these allegations that, Diddy is facing, I don't see how the rabbit is coming out of the hole. Right? For years, this man had the opportunity to just go live life beyond, Shann, our imagination.
Yeah, absolutely.
Financially, emotionally, physically, he can wake up in a country every 15 hours if he wanted to.
Right.
But he chose to follow his lower nature, his lust, and to create this conglomerate of parties where people all across the United States that is in the music industry will come to and fulfill all their lust, right?
Right,
so
right.
They're basically saying that Diddy used his business as an operation. And employees, he brought his employees in, housekeepers, everybody. I know he got an endorsement with Johnson's and Johnson's because they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Listen, he can get a whale stuck out of a hole with 1,000 bottles of
absolutely
oil.
Yes, he can.
Never going to look at Johnson Johnson's the same way ever again. This is a slippery crime, Shann. Very slippery. But let's get back to these charges, right? If this guy's convicted, he's looking at a maximum of 20 years in prison. And I don't care who you are. That is a significant amount of time for anybody to be confined. And with federal charges, as the country folks say, it's day. Every day. Every day. You serve
every day.
Every minute of every hour.
That's crazy.
And
That's
now,
crazy.
Hey, Shann.
Yeah.
Hollywood is scared. This was a Hollywood secret that everybody knew about. Everybody talked about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we were talking today. This has been going on for 30 years. I mean, Hollywood, the music business, the music industry has been trying to tell us this covertly for many, many years. I mean, and now that they're going back and they're pulling interviews and they're pulling TV shows and they're pulling videos and stuff like that, they've been trying to tell us for years, and we just weren't listening, or we just didn't care, or whatever. Like I was telling you earlier today, somebody on TikTok posted a video of the Austin Powers movie. For anybody that has seen the Austin Powers movie, crazy movie. It's just a parody of just a bunch of craziness. And in that movie, this movie was shot over 20 years ago. And in that movie, one of the actors was trying to escape and crawl up the ladder. And then Austin Powers grabbed his shorts, pulled him down, and exposed his bottom side. And tattooed right there on the man's bottom side was Diddy. I mean, they were trying to tell us covertly right in that movie 20 years ago that this man's behind belonged to Diddy. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy.
But did he do it?
I know, right?
So look, we got a video, y'all. Now, listen. We don't agree with everything in this video that I'm about to play. So don't get mad. Don't be calling us up or putting comments and say, hey, man, that's false. We talked about this earlier. It's going to be a lot of false narratives. It's going to be a lot of false people that's going to be pulled into it that don't have nothing to do about it. But this episode is about who's talking about Diddy. And so take a look at this and you'll find out who's talking about Diddy.
Because he's in a world of trouble. But that's not what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about Hollywood being in a world of trouble. Charges Diddy with.
Wow. He said he's in a world of trouble, right? a world of trouble. And that's not a lie. That's not a misconception, because P. Diddy is connected to people you and I may never see on the streets.
No,
we're talking about business executives, politicians.
CEOs. Yeah, absolutely.
CEOs. We're talking about high grade caliber industry individuals. And Shann, they have to be afraid right now. Because if you went to one of those parties, right, and you witness something illegal, and I'm going to talk about the R. Kelly case. Matter of fact, let me go there first.
All right.
Everybody watch the videos surviving R. Kelly.
Right.
When you saw those testimonies, what did you see?
I just saw that it was just a lot of people that knew for years and decided not to say a word. Just let it play out and let this man have his way. And watching that all along, I was like, why aren't y'all locked up? Why aren't y'all in prison with him? Because you knew exactly what was going on.
See, those are not witnesses. Those are accomplices.
Exactly.
If you witness a crime being committed against a person underage, you do not have the right to remain silent. You are supposed to report that. But they waited until they can get paid for it to do a documentary on surviving R. Kelly, and the DA let these people walk free, and it's not fair. They need to go back and lock every last one of them who saw things happening to Aaliyah, who saw things happening to underage children, because that was a federal offense being committed, and you only said something about it when this man was caught, and you can benefit financially. So now let's go back to P. Diddy, right?
Right.
Anyone who have attended any of these parties and you witness something illegal, I don't care if you Jay-Z, Beyonce, Prince Harry, Michael Jordan, it don't matter. If you saw a crime being committed, you are an accessory after the fact, and you're just as guilty as the person who committed the crime under the law. Correct me if I'm wrong, Shann.
Absolutely. I mean, if you were there enjoying yourself and whatever these parties entail, and people were there that had no business there, children, underage individuals, or adults who were coerced through narcotics of any kind, I mean, you are guilty. You're guilty.
And here's this. I'm going to tell y'all something. Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Sean Combs' love is no dummy. This man, as bad of a character we are witnessing right now, God didn't become a mobile because he was dumb. He is smart. They said he had cameras in every room. And what he did, he videotaped everybody. So this man, he loves control. It just turns him on. Control turns P. Diddy on. When I watched The Making of a Band, right? He made those guys walk 2 hours to get him a cheesecake.
Right.
2 hours. And when they got mad, he came out. We're like, listen, you ain't got to do nothing. You can go home. You know, you don't want this record deal. Listen, if you're not willing to do anything for this, then you don't want it. That's his mindset.
Yeah.
That is P. Diddy's mindset. I got to demoralize you. I got to let you know that I am in charge and that my money is what you want, and I'm going to make you do whatever I want you to do to get it.
Right. Definitely. And also, too, if we look at it, he has to have somebody higher up in the food chain above him, allowing him to do what he's doing, enabling him to do what he's been doing all along, if all these charges come out to be true. because you don't do what he did for 20 plus years and everybody know about it and then and stay out of jail for this long unless somebody above you was enabling you to the point to where they kept you in a bubble so that nobody can touch them.
Yeah.
So there's some higher ups there that kept that bubble from bursting.
Yeah,
but the bubble ended up bursting. I mean, the bubble definitely ended up bursting.
And people are scared. See, P. Diddy, Sean Combs, Puffy, whatever you want to call him, he wasn't supplying drugs to people, but he was the booty dealer. He was the booty dealer. He served you up whatever your nasty heart desire. And I'm telling y'all this guy got some serious stuff on some serious people. But Sean, what I'm concerned about is if he does talk like that, the danger he's going to put his kids in.
Right.
You know, because from where I'm from, people say, you know what? I ain't going to touch you. I'm going to take what you love.
Right.
That's going to hurt you more than me putting my hands on you. This is a real serious situation with what's going on with P. Diddy. Serious situation. Now,
it is.
He's charged with sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. Now, this indictment claims that Diddy abused, threatened victims to get them involved in commercial sex acts. Man, this is a really grave charge. Y'all don't understand. And if he is found guilty, the penalty can be severe. I'm talking about it's worse than a racketeering charge. We talking life in prison. His whole natural life, meaning that when he leaves, it's going to be in a casket. These are some serious charges.
That's right.
These are some serious charges. Sean, you got another thought before we go to this next video?
No, you can move on. You can move on to the next video.
Diddy. It's not just P. Diddy who's in trouble. There might be some other A-listers going down with him. But who else could go down with Diddy? Let's find out. Looks like Usher's making headlines too. Just days after Diddy's arrest on trafficking and racketeering charges, Usher wiped his entire Twitter clean. Yep, all 7,000 posts. Poof, gone. Just like that. Even Jay-Z and Queen Bee have been caught up in this mess. Since they've been friends with Diddy since the 90s and have always showed up at his strange parties, they might be the first ones to be subpoenaed and forced to testify against him. Many other high-profile Hollywood stars with past ties to Diddy have stayed silent about the rumors surrounding him. This includes his former girlfriend Jennifer Lopez and longtime friend Ashton Kutcher. Even Chris Brown has gone underground because of the list of allegations against him. Not to forget Trey Songz, who has previously faced a harassment scandal that happened at Diddy's nightclub. What are your guesses about it?
Now, like we stated, I don't know how much of all of that is true.
Right.
But what is true, he has a lot of A-list friends. And everybody goes to a Diddy party. Well, let's not say everybody. A lot of bodies.
A lot of them.
Goes to P. Diddy's parties. Now, the thing with Usher, you know, I blame Usher's mom for a lot of the things that has happened to this young man. Why would you let your teenage son go live with a man that you don't know just for a record deal? And Usher has said it himself that he had witnessed some things that at his age he should have never been involved. Well, not involved. He should have never have witnessed. And there's no telling what type of trauma this young man has undergone because of Diddy.
Well, not only trauma, but grooming. I mean, this is a grooming situation. So if the allegations are true and Usher has a hand in these parties as they went forward, we have to look at him as a victim for being groomed into something that, and that's what, and we've seen the stories hundreds of times of all these young stars that are groomed by the industry, groomed to become nothing more than sexual play toys. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Yeah. And Sean, let's talk about grooming. Since you brought that up, let's let's dig deep into that. This is a psychological method used to manipulate someone to become what you need them to be.
Yes.
And I mean, it just don't happen in the music industry. It happens in churches. It happens in high schools. It happens in homes.
Yes.
It happens in families. This is a sick method of taking innocence, treating it like clay,
right,
molding it to be exactly what you want it to be. And that is horrible.
It's horrible.
That makes that young man a victim. That makes a lot of people a victim, because
absolutely.
P. Diddy has been labeled as a groomer. He grooming no dogs. He grooming people.
Yeah. That's right.
So what you think about that, Shann? That grooming process.
That grooming process is nothing more than to for their own sexual desires. Their disgusting sexual desires that they need to have someone young to fulfill. And as you were saying, that is an epidemic across this world, not just this country, but across this world, where young men and women are becoming groomed in order to facilitate the fantasies of these 6 individuals. And it almost seems like with the more power that these individuals get, the more it's done. I mean, I know it's done at every level. It's done. Somebody's uncle is doing it. Somebody's father's doing it. Somebody's grandfather's doing it. But it seems like it is amplified when you start getting these men of power that are creating these secret societies, these secret parties, and and in order to supply it, they're bringing them in from everywhere. These kids are getting victimized from all over the world, and it's heartbreaking that we have to even talk about something like that. It's heartbreaking that we have to bring that to the forefront so that people understand that these monsters exist and these monsters are out there and they are taking the innocence of our children.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Our young women, oh God, because you're beautiful, because you got a nice shape, because men desire you, you are a prime suspect for a person like Diddy to groom you. And it's sad that all of this grooming was drawn in by money. By money and fame, because you want to be so famous, you allow yourself to be groomed. And then you cry out and call yourself a victim. And I know what I just said may not rub people the same way, but I'm not talking about the kids now. I'm talking about the adults. I'm not talking about Usher as a kid. I'm talking about a person who has the mental ability to know why I'm doing this. I'm with P. Diddy because I can get some money, I can get some fame, I can get this. I'm not going to really call you a victim. Now, you became one because you didn't know what you was doing. Because you took it further than what you could imagine, right?
Right.
At the same time, why would you put yourself in that position for the benefit of money?
Well, I'm gonna have to push. I'm gonna have to push back on that just a little bit.
Go ahead.
Now you have individuals that know very well what they're getting into. You have ones that play the victim. I know they exist. I know they're out there. They play the victim, and the moment the victim status runs out, then they want a payout. Yeah, you're right. They're out there. But let's think about the individual that has vested all their sweat, all their hard work. They have literally walked away from a previous life to make that happen, to make that singing career happen, make that acting career happen. And they are so vested that these grooming individuals show up with an opportunity. All you got to do is just little bit. And if you do this just a little bit, I can take it to the next level. So then they start, and you're right, there's a moral dilemma now. Well, what should I do? Should I do this? I've invested so much of my time, and they're the gatekeeper. These individuals are the gatekeeper. And then they They put that little offer out there, and these individuals, they take it. Okay, I just got to do this, whatever this little bit is I got to do. But then once you step through that door, you can't back out, because then they give it to you. They give it whatever it is that your heart desired. You've got it. You're there. You've made it. You're at the pinnacle. But guess what? Now you got to do it again. And you got to do it again. And you got to do it a little more. And you got to do it a little more often. And now that they've got it in their teeth. They taste it. They taste success. And now it's like, what do I do now? Now all of a sudden they're lost. And they're like, man, what have I done? They find the realization finally kicks in. And then they say, okay, now I'm a victim. He used my aspirations against me. I didn't know it was going to go this far. Now it's gone too far. And now they're crying foul and they want something done about it. So you have two aspects to the story.
John, man, brother, that you couldn't have said that no better. And now that you said it, my mind is like, okay, we were those guys one day, but we didn't. So Shann and I was in the music industry. We was there. I mean, we was right at the door. And
right at the door.
Unknown to any of us, we were getting offers to do this, to do that. We didn't compromise. We stuck till our gates. Now, nobody came up and tried to rape us or anything, but there were things offered to us.
There were some offers.
So to piggyback on what you just said, right? So, like you said, you come in, they say, hey, you do this one time, you don't have to do it no more. And now it's like a game. Now I got something to hold over your head. I'm going to dangle this carrot because you did this. I got proof you did this, and I'm going to use it against you. Now, grooming begins in a far worse manner than you just trying something for the first time. Now, in it and can't get out of it. And from what's being said, that was Diddy's method. Let me get something on you, then I'm going to hold you hostage to whatever I need you to do. I'm going to out you. I'm going to tell everybody about you.
That's right.
And now that's the power they're talking about. The victims who said, like Cassie, I don't know why this young lady stayed in a relationship as long as she did under the abuse that she went through.
Right.
I don't know how she's still standing.
Yeah.
Right. Because
it happens. Yeah, it happens every day. She is the typical woman who's abused. I mean, there's millions of examples of women who live in abusive relationships because they feel trapped. And we cannot understand where the feeling of trap comes. It's different for every woman. And as a man, you and me, we can't conceive the feeling of being trapped because we're fighters. We're going to push back. We're going to fight back. But women are nurturers. A lot of them are not that. They're not fighters. So they get into that trapped mentality and they can't leave. They cannot leave. They become paralyzed to the fact of leaving. And you're right. We will not truly ever know what it was that kept her in that situation. But she had the moment. She had that moment where she broke free.
Yeah, that's crazy. So listen, if you're watching this podcast, we can see your comments. If you got a comment, listen, type your comment in because we will respond to it live here on the Mind Changers podcast. We see we got some likes, but I'm encouraging you to communicate back with us because you may say something about something we didn't even, tap into in this podcast.
Yeah.
But
absolutely. Back
to the victim, Shann.
Yeah. Cassie. Yeah.
I believe it's a horrible place for a human being to be, to feel like, hey, I don't know what to do. The abuse at the moment is better than making the decision to leave.
Right. That's right.
Because look at what I'm going to lose. It ain't all bad. I got good days with Diddy and I got some bad days with Diddy. I just have to, as Cassie, sleep with somebody because it turns him on, but it demoralizes me. But I'm not ready to leave because he's my total support because not to talk about her career, Cassie wasn't a top 10 artist at all.
Right.
Not even a top 20. She had a couple of good songs. So, of course, he was her financial leg to lean on. Right. And so this young woman probably went through hell with this man. And she knows more about what he's done than anything. So, allegedly, the Kim Porter situation. Yeah. I've always felt that this young woman just didn't die.
Okay.
Because according to the reports, she had no health issues.
Right.
I mean, anybody can get pneumonia. You just can't say a person just can't get pneumonia because you don't know what's going on in their body. But Al B. Sure feels like Diddy did something to her because she was going to write a tell-all book on Diddy. And it never got released. Allegedly, Cassie turned over Kim's burner phone. Okay, how did she get a burner phone? I don't know. She turned over Kim's burner phone allegedly to the FBI or to the authorities. So this thing is going to get really, really ugly. And I'm telling you, some of your favorite stars will be getting subpoenas. They will be dragged in court. This is going to be the ugliest scandal since Harvey Weinstein.
It's probably going to be more ugly than Harvey Weinstein because a lot of the names that came out of Harvey Weinstein they're powerful, but it's not names that we use in our day-to-day life. This scandal right here is people that we've listened to and enjoyed for a latter of the last 20 years. So yeah, this is going to be a big scandal, and that really and I'm glad you segued us into that to get us to go into a direction of why I feel like this is a huge distraction.
Yeah, and so we got a comment from Allison Williams, right? She says something ain't right. Kim's death. She said something is not right about Kim. So Allison, we want to thank you for that comment, and I agree. Something is not right now that we know what we know about her death. Thank you for that comment, Allison Williams. So yeah, man, it's crazy. This thing is about to get supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Absolutely.
It's going to be crazy. Because Diddy, like they said, did he do it? He did. So
now here's
as we move on.
Yep. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead,
Sean.
Yeah. I was gonna. However you were gonna segue, I was gonna go ahead and start moving into my my little spiel about what was going on with this distraction. So whatever thought you want to finish. Go ahead and finish it.
Okay. So what I want to do before you go to that, Sean, another one of the charges that P. Diddy, Love, Puffy Combs is the transportation to engage in prostitution, right? This is about Diddy alleging arranging victims to be taken across state lines, which is crazy for prostitution purposes. Now, if he's convicted of this charge, which is one of the least amount of charges, least charge is about 10 years in prison. But it don't stop there. The indictment includes allegations like kidnapping, arson, robbery, obstructions of justice. Each of these charges carry a different sentence. So P. Diddy, as I say, has slid down a razor blade, and the brother has landed in the federal alcohol river. So go on, Sean, with your thoughts, sir.
Yeah, definitely. When you're looking at everything he's done, he has some help, but I truly believe I don't think he has anyone he could turn to. I don't think he has anyone that he can rat out to help his situation because he was so integral in control and in charge of what was going on in this whole situation. I mean, yes, he has video. He has video of all these powerful people doing things, but Hollywood has contingency plans. Hollywood always knows this is going to happen, that this can come out, and it doesn't really matter. The executives don't care. Because, yes, it might hurt some actors. Yes, it might hurt some performers. But we live in a world of wickedness. Mm-hmm. People will only care about it for so long. I mean, we've seen plenty of very famous people put in very peculiar situations, whether it's by accident or whether it's by choice. And at the end of the day, they just became more popular. So yeah. I really don't think Hollywood is really worried as much as a lot of people think, because they have contingencies for this situation. Mm-hmm. They understand what's going to happen. They understand this can possibly happen. Now, where I'm segueing into next is as far as this distraction that I'm calling it. Uh-huh. Like I said earlier, how the timing of this was impeccable. The way they decided to drop it 6 weeks before the election. Now, there's some things going on in the news now that are just little bumps in the road. They don't have time to really get its traction because P. Diddy's news is all in the forefront. Mm-hmm. One of the big situations is there's a company called 23andMe. 23andMe is a DNA company that you send in your DNA to find out if you can find a long-lost cousin, a long-lost mm-hmm. brother, find out where you come from, and you can build your family tree. Now, when these companies were first introduced to us, they had ethical type things where you would send us your DNA and we would be very responsible with it. We understand you're giving us that DNA and we're going to be responsible with it. And for the most part, they've been responsible. But 23andMe, the largest DNA harvesting company out there, has decided to go private. Meaning what they're going to do is they're going to sell your DNA to the highest bidder. And that's scary. You have all these individuals that are going to sell your DNA to whoever wants to know what all your pre-existing conditions are. Wow. Whether an insurance company is going to insure you or not, because Lamar, you might have high cholesterol or high blood pressure. You might have cardiac arrest because we can see it in your DNA because these scientists are mapping all this stuff. They can tell just by your DNA what you're probably going to die from.
Wow.
And then all the directors of 23andMe, they stepped down. That's important news. That's stuff we need to know about.
Yeah.
If we have our DNA in these DNA harvesting corporations, that's not really being talked about.
Yeah,
and then you start looking at all the CEOs across this nation that are stepping down. There's like 12 CEOs that stepped down in the last 2 weeks, and we're talking about Nike, mm-hmm. Starbucks, Lipton, Axiom Space, Boeing. I mean, some of the largest corporations in this country. The CEOs are just up and deciding to quit. That's pretty important.
Yeah.
I mean, CEOs don't normally do that.
They don't.
And then there's another news story where the World Health Organization, the acronym is WHO, they want to come in and they want a big treaty across this world to where when, not if, but when the next pandemic strikes, they'll have full power and can tell every country what to do. That's important. We should be talking about that the United States has decided that they might sign this treaty. Not to mention Israel with this attack with the pagers and the two-way radios. I need everybody to stop and think about this for a second. That was probably the most diabolical attack that we have ever seen anybody do.
Yeah. Never before.
Never before. They were able to put their hands into a supply chain and send thousands upon thousands of devices armed with explosives that blew up everybody that they wanted to blow up with the push of a button. Now, the reason why I want everybody to understand why that's important, that is proof of concept that can be done at the highest bidder, at the highest bidder. Who is going to be the next country to decide that they have an enemy that they want to attack with a cell phone or a pager or a television or anything like that? That proof of concept is important. They gave that about 3 days of news cycle and it was gone. And let's not look past this election. This election is crazy. You have Republicans and Democrats. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like these are two cartels fighting over control. They're fighting over the control of the White House because you have MAGA on one hand doing the most diabolical stuff that I thought I would never see a politician do. And on the other hand, you have Democrats that are just out here laying down to everybody. They're allowing anybody to do anything and give everything to everybody.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. I mean, those are two extremes. We got to find somewhere in the middle. And like I said, that's almost like we got two warring factions trying to take over the White House. And then we've got 39 active cases across this entire country for voter reform. Who does voter reform 6 weeks before an election? And some of these cases are actually being won in court. And the Republicans are actually removing voters from the voting roll. People are going to show up to vote in some states, and they won't be able to vote because their name's been removed for one reason or another. We're not talking about that. And I want to talk to Black America right now.
Going on, Shann.
On why they decided to use the Puffy, Combs situation to be the distraction. Because you guys are the largest, most important, most influential voters in this election right now. You put Biden in office 4 years ago, and you can absolutely put Kamala in office this 4 years coming up. And the Republicans know this. They know they can't get your vote. They've lost it. There's nothing they can do about it. They know they only have 3% of the African American vote. That's not enough. Mm-hmm. So what did they decide to do? How little they think of you. They think so little of you that this little, I'll call it a stupid news cycle, will get you so worked up and so feverishly worked up over it that you won't even worry about voting. That you'll be so caught up in that you'll just be like, you know what? I care more about Diddy and what's going on. I'm not going to worry about voting. But I'm telling you, I know better. I know that's not going to deter you. I know it's going to be a waste of time. And that's what I feel about this whole situation.
Wow. And listen, Tony Taylor sent a comment, says, Jesus, take the wheel.
Yep.
Take the wheel. Listen, Tony, share this podcast with some friends. Allison, share this podcast with some friends. Shann, you went deep. You went outside of who's talking about Diddy.
Yeah.
And letting us know that because we're talking about Diddy, we're not talking about other things that are more important. When
way more important.
You can blow a cell phone up
that
don't belong to you, that belong to somebody else, that's diabolical.
That is.
That is technology that we did not know exists.
Exactly.
I need to get my cell phone out the room. Oh, man, Shann. Brother, first of all, that was some deep insight because we talked about it today. You know, we can't let any news distract us from world news because this ain't world news when it comes to Diddy. This is domestic.
Right.
We need to stay focused. We can't be sleep. We got to be woke. It ain't just a word. It's a state of being. You got to know what's going on in this country. You got to read. You got to research because you can be outside just walking around and don't know that something about to hit you upside your head and kill you because you don't want to be informative.
Right.
Being informative can save your life.
That's right.
So I want to thank all these comments that's coming in. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
So Shann.
Yeah.
Thanks for pointing that out, that even though we're discussing who's talking about Diddy, we need to be talking about some other things as well.
Right.
So if you're finished with your thought, which is great, by the way.
Yes. Yes, I'm finished.
I'm going to go. Look like you've been holding that in all day at work. Shann just hit. He unloaded. But I appreciate that. And a lot of folks out there appreciate your perspective, man. You are a rising star on My James podcast. All right, let's go to this next video. And remember, we're not saying we believe in everything we're playing.
Right.
Who's talking about Diddy? these people right here.
Music mogul had tapes of politicians and princes, but not only celebrities.
He said this guy had tapes of politicians,
right,
and princesses.
Yeah,
Who do you think he referring to, Sean?
The Saudi princes. The Saudi princes.
Now, if this man ain't connected to somebody, I ain't never seen a prince.
Yeah.
He said this man had princesses. He pluralized it. So let's go back and say
Music mogul had tapes of politicians and princes, but not
tapes. I'm sorry, y'all. Tapes. That meaning that he has evidence against somebody who's more powerful than just about anybody in the United States. I'm gonna play that one more time.
Music mogul had tapes of politicians and princes,
but not only celebrities, he had politicians in there. He had.
Now, if you don't know who this guy is, he was P. Diddy's bodyguard.
Right.
So we can't discredit him because he was there. Now, is he adding a little more to it? I don't know.
He could be.
He has never been afraid of P. Diddy. He's always come out, and everything he said has happened, Sean.
Now, I wanted one little point that he said about politicians.
Back up.
If politicians were there, who do you think? What politicians you think were there? I mean, we already know that the Republicans don't deal with Diddy or that world. It's going to be a bunch of Democratic politicians that got wrapped up in that whole ordeal. So if they start dropping politician names and stuff, we could see a deluge of Democratic politicians that take the hit on this.
Or some people gonna be stepping down, man. But I'm gonna play this out right quick.
Politicians and princes,
but not only celebrities, he had politicians in there. He had princes in there. He also had a couple of preachers in there.
Oh, damn.
Is he talking about who I think he's talking about? You don't know the preacher that was seen with Diddy at one of the parties that Cat Williams says, I don't care whether you're TD Jakes or Diddy.
Oh, yeah.
So was saying it, Lil Rod, the former producer, filed the lawsuit, and he said every room in Diddy's mansions were wired with cameras.
Y'all heard that? Lil Rod is a producer who was working with Diddy, and he said that every last one of his rooms were wired with cameras.
Okay.
Diddy got so much on so many people, man. I don't know how that's going to turn out, man.
It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be
crazy, man.
It's going to be crazy.
Definitely.
Lawsuit, and he said every room in Diddy's mansions were wired with cameras. He had some of the footage, he had some of the pictures, and he displayed those in the lawsuit that came out. And this was used for blackmail material. They'd bring in these people. A lot of these people were also aspiring young artists in the music industry. And then these parties were sponsored by Motown Records CEO, Universal Records CEO. This goes all the way.
Now, did y'all hear him say these parties were sponsored by some CEOs? Now, hold on to that. Did Diddy really use his money?
Yeah, you're right.
Or did he use the money of other people?
He could have.
So we don't know what Diddy know.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Man, so Sean,
crazy.
What you think about that?
Well, here's the thing about all that, and this is going to be a difficult one to prove, or a difficult one to go any further with, because if these tapes do exist, the general public won't get to see them because, for one, it's pornographic material, and the federal government isn't going to put out pornographic material. It's going to be an evidence that will probably be viewed in a sealed chamber, to where if they need to show it, only the jury or the lawyers or the judge will watch. the public will never get to see it. So for the most part, it's going to be hearsay for us. They're going to say this person was in there, this person was in there, and this person was in there. But it's also going to be a difficult one to prove to the public because we won't be able to see it. I don't even know if any video is accessible in the wild or not. I'm not sure. So because if the federal government has it, we'll never get to see them.
Yeah. Well,
and everybody, I don't want to see him. I don't want to watch pornographic material.
No. And look, Shann, the prosecutor also mentioned that investigation, first of all, is ongoing, and it could have more co-conspirators coming to light. Now, with this scope, the seriousness of these allegations, it's clear that Diddy could be facing a lengthy prison system. Now, keep in mind that these allegations at this point is just what it is, an allegation.
Yeah.
I believe, Shann, when we get to the meat of all this stuff, so many different things are going to come out. I think this is going to be the case of the century.
And it will be. And it won't take place until probably January. It'll be January when it takes place. Because they're going to allow the holiday. We're going to get all these rumors. We're going to get all this speculation to carry us and float us through the holidays. And then once that's over with, and sometime after January, when this court case hits, it's going to be front and center, and it's going to be the talk of the town. I agree. It's going to be the talk of the town.
And Shann, they had a young lady, and I'm going to be careful how I say this because I have a daughter. I have two daughters. And if my daughter was traumatized, I'm not a clinical psychiatrist. I don't know how trauma affects women. I know I was traumatized as a kid. And so for me, it didn't affect me the way it affected them. But that doesn't mean that their reactions are not true.
Right.
So they had a young lady on who was one of the victims that had came forth, right? She was an adult woman. She wasn't a child, anything like that. And she was crying as if it just happened.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know. I'm not saying her reaction wasn't real because when somebody bring that story up, you live in that moment.
You do.
But
you do.
I just think if it was that traumatizing, it wouldn't take Diddy being caught unless you was afraid for your life and he had some things on you, like you said earlier, Shann. So it's kind of hard to take testimonies because you don't know if it's just motivated by money. Everybody want to cash in now. Everybody want to cry hurt. That's a serious delayed reaction. However, trauma has the ability to resurface in people because my brother been gone for 30 years plus. And sometimes I can wake up as if he just died today.
Right.
So I'm not going to discredit her reaction, but we have to be careful because some people are going to put on a show and some people are going to make their trauma feel worse than what it is. And I'm not saying this young lady's trauma was not real, but we got to be careful about our opinions about that.
Well, the way I look at that, the way I've always looked at that is, you're right. Some people are going to jump on the train just for the monetary value. But at the end of the day, if he is guilty, that is part of it. That we got to deal with that because there's going to be enough victims out there to where they got to have their day in court, and it's par for the course. If somebody just jumps on for the ride and tries to get something out of it, that's just what Diddy's got to deal with, plain and simple. He made his bed. He'll have to lie in it. He's whatever vulture comes to gobble him up, because you got to think of it this way. He was a vulture too. He was absolutely a vulture.
Yes,
he was gobbling up innocence. He was gobbling up people's dignity. He was gobbling up people's morale. He was a vulture. So if the vultures come for him, I'm sorry. He's just going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to deal with this laying down. The guy's too smart. And I'm not idolizing him by any means.
Oh, yeah.
Don't anybody
Absolutely.
think
Absolutely.
that. But you can't take away a person's intelligence just because they're guilty. This brother got a lot of stuff on a lot of people that we can't even imagine the video and all of this stuff. Because trust me, when they came and took his stuff, he ain't that stupid that he gonna leave everything on one device for them to somebody just come take it away. And I'm sure
he didn't. You know he didn't, because he knew he was under indictment for months. They gave him months to do whatever he wanted to with the evidence before they finally come breaking his door down. So yeah, absolutely.
And so Sean, I want to think about this. So he got 2 adult sons. Here's my fear for them. I pray to God they didn't participate in daddy activities.
Oh yeah.
Because if they participated in daddy activities, they're in jail too. If they were a witness to daddy activities, they going to jail too. Because they witnessed a crime being committed and they did nothing about it. Okay. So I doubt his sons are innocent. The girls, I'm sure.
I don't know.
Daddy kept them away. And here's the crazy thing, Sean. He talk about how much he loved his girls, but yet you do that to somebody else's daughter.
Yeah.
You're a hypocrite.
But here's the thing. Then really, truly, how much did he love his daughters? I mean, at the end of the day, that could have been all show. He could have very well exploited them as well. He could have. I mean, it's not impossible. We've seen worse monsters out there exploit their children, exploit their daughters. We've seen men sell their daughters to other men. So really, I mean, nothing's off the table, Lamar. Nothing's off the table with that scenario. That's
crazy, man. Listen, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Mind Changers Podcast. Listen, we had a really good talk about who's talking about Diddy. And this is not even half the people that's talking about Diddy. The industry was talking about him before this ever happened.
That's right.
He was known that his parties were, how can I put it? Hell parties, if I want to say it. I mean, they say,
absolutely.
William said, you got to tell them no. You got to tell P. Diddy no.
That's right.
Who loves the party.
And you had other celebrities that that we've talked to about in the past that made sure they were gone by a certain time because as you could see some of his parties to where he announced that the next phase of the party was about to happen. You know, the next phase was fixing to here we go. So if you don't want to be a part of it, you need to get on because we're about to get crazy up in here. So so you know, they knew.
Yeah. So any final thoughts, Sean?
Yeah, the final thought is this world is full of wicked men. The industry is full of wicked men. That is what the industry is. For the most part, it's nothing more than a criminal, or they're all been criminal organizations for as long as we can remember. And they are built and designed to take away your innocence. They always have been. So we're just trying to tell these young people today, don't get caught up in the hype. Don't get caught up in the hype of the music business and being actors because, man, it's dangerous. It's dangerous in that world.
And your body is priceless. Do not prostitute yourself for a dream. Do not prostitute yourself for fame and riches because it's going to come back and it's going to hurt you. So listen,
it's going to hurt you bad.
We want to thank y'all for tuning into Mind Changers Podcast with your host Lamar Blakney with one of my best friends, Shann Atkinson. Until next time. Listen, love and peace, and remember this.
We told y'all, we came to expose the lies and reveal the truth. We told y'all, we bring in biblical principles of factual truth. We told y'all, we came to expose the lies and reveal the truth. We told y'all, we bring in biblical principles of factual truth. We told y'all, yeah we did. We told y'all, yeah we did.